Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WildWeiler Weekly Wrap. As always, I am WildWeiler. The important thing to know about this week is I am making it up as I go, because otherwise this just isn't happening. So let's dive right into 3 topics that I have to come up with live. WildWeiler, live, pre-recorded. So first off, I've been busy. You could tell because this vlog comes out at random times now, but I love doing it because I'm here for you. One of the reasons I'm busy is because I'm an adult with an adult job. Not an adult job, an adult job. Anyways, the point is I figured I'd tell you a little bit about what I do. I am a software engineer. I graduated with a degree in computer science, which is not computer engineering. It's a different field. Anyways, that's the field that people think that, like, programmers get, and as somebody with a degree, I get a little snobby in this regard. Programmers and software engineers are 2 different things. I'm a software engineer. You don't need a degree to do either of those jobs, but it's important to know the difference between one and the other. What do I engineer, you ask? Web applications in Azure. Yep, that's what I do. I use Microsoft Azure. Bing, bing, bing. Logos, why not? Anyways, yeah, I design web applications in Azure that are high volume, ideally low latency. But let's be honest, people have a lot of weird expectations for what they want in a low latency app, especially because they're like, oh, it needs to be like Netflix. And you're like, do you know how much money Netflix spends? Do you know that Netflix didn't make a profit for forever? And I'm not 100% sure they do make a profit without, like, weird accounting tricks. And we're a company that has to make a profit or we go out of business. Sort of. But I won't get into that because that's too into, my personal life. Anyways, so I make web apps in Azure. I've been busy all summer making web apps in Azure. It's rewarding in many ways. Luckily, like, mercifully, in this economy, it pays well. But, tech industry is hard right now. There's a lot of layoffs. There's a lot of anxiety. The AI bubble is just primed to burst at this point, which will be interesting. I think people in, like, hardcore quote-unquote AI jobs will be fine, which is to say the people who are, like, researching better ways of doing math to figure out trends and whatnot, that's fine. It's the AI chatbot bubble that is going to go because nobody wants it. It's not great. That's my take on the whole AI thing. I will not be putting that into the topics for this video, if only because I don't want my comments to be swarmed by people who think AI is the second coming. It's not. It's a tool. You know what I want so-called generative AI to do? Very little. What I want to do is we need to find a sustainable and scalable way for me to ask search engines more targeted questions. Like, example, I use Azure. I read a lot of Azure documentation. I read a lot of C# documentation. It would be nice to be able to ask the search engine, I am trying to do this specific thing in Azure. Please get me all of the documentation pages I will need to read and understand to do that. But the way search engines work right now is the assumption is that the answer you need is on one page. And I do think we could make sufficiently smart large language models that could understand limited sets of documentation. Example, I could ask Copilot and it would answer specifically about the Azure documentation, not the internet as a whole. That's a use case. And we have to solve some big technological problems, like how do we not boil away all the drinking water, and how do we not burn all the natural gas to keep these data centers running. Those need to be solved before we can even think about making one of these sort of large language models useful to me. Otherwise, they slow me in particular down, but I have 15 years experience doing this. Not 15 years experience in Azure specifically, but you get what I mean. So that's what's been keeping me busy. Work is work. Work pays, pays the bills, it feeds the mouth. It does all of that. If anybody, by the way, has a line on like $1.6 million that I could have, I would appreciate it. And I'll tell you why. It's because as much as I love my job, which is like, it's better this year than it has been in a lot of years past, to be honest. But there's a storefront for sale in the city I live in that I'd love to turn into an art gallery and just do that full time. But I need $1.6 million. So if you have a way to give me $1.6 million after taxes, just leave a comment. I'll reach out, or I won't. I mean, I probably will if, this is a pretty low dangling fruit for scammers, but I am a stingy dog, so don't expect me to pay any of your wire transfer fees. But that's me. That's a little bit about me, WildWeiler. So you know what I've been doing just behind the scenes, and that is working on Azure web apps that are not as performant as Netflix. I'm a big fan of the Mafia series of games. I've liked them. I've played them all. The first one is really good. The second one is also really good. The third one is the best. And now we have Mafia, the Old Country. I wanted this game to be good. Pre-World War I Sicily. Old cars, old guns, tweed. Would have been perfect. Unfortunately, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not a good game. And there are a number of things that could have made it, better, and they didn't do it. And I don't even know where to start, because I was really excited for this game, and it's been such a huge disappointment. So first of all, I beat it. From this moment on, because this episode of the WildWeiler Weekly Wrap is unscripted, consider anything I'm about to say spoilers for Mafia, the Old Country, because who knows where this conversation is going to go. I could go over here, I could go over there. It does not matter. Anyways, so, number one, it's pre-World War I. They try to mix in, horses and cars at the same time in this game, except for they don't do anything cool. The cool thing about having horses and cars viable at the same time is how is there not a mission where somebody's traveling by car and you have to catch them traveling by horse, but you can take shortcuts gallop through vineyards. There isn't that. There isn't that obvious mission. That very, very obvious mission. That isn't in the game. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part, and this isn't a bait and switch because the game developers announced this in March. Or April. I don't know when. Anyways, the game is not open world like other titles in the series. Now, Mafia 1 and 2 were always sort of this weird pseudo open world. Where before every mission you could drive around wherever on your map, and when you went to the little initial thing, that's when the mission started, right? Well, that's not necessarily true with this one. This one you just go from mission to mission, but it's clear in the design process it was going to be open world, to the point where the first 3 hours of the game are jarring, because it's here's the car mechanic. Bring your cars if you break them to him. You're never going to have a car long enough in the game to need to bring a car to him. And then if you go into the free roam mode, there's no repair your car here. So that is what it is. There's all these collectibles that you have to keep replaying missions to get because there's no open world. So why are there collectibles? And then crucially, the dumbest thing is there are so many missions where the game was planned to be open world, so the idea is you'd be driving with your people and they'd be expositioning in the car while you drive. We all know this. Every open world game player knows this is how you get your exposition. You're yep, Giuseppe, we're gonna go kill that guy. Yes we are. Bloop bloop bloop. Anyways, they have a skip button. That's how little they think of both you and their plot. Is could you not have made this just a cutscene where we're in the car or something? But no, you listen to them talk for a bit, and then that's maybe 1/3 of the drive, and then you can hit the skip button and you just get teleported to where you're going to. So it's so obvious they just ripped the open world out of this at some point. And I get it. As I mentioned in the previous segment, I'm a software engineer. I get having to rip core functionality out. The thing is it does affect your end product. And that's something, that like I know very, 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 very personally. So that's frustrating. The first is it should be open world. It should have been. And the fact that they ripped that out sucks. Thing number 2, dose. Gunplay. So the Mafia games have always had this loose yet tight gunplay where everything feels sluggish and confusing and the guns are inaccurate. And it's sort of inscrutable in the way that you don't know if it's just wonky controls or they're accurately simulating the chaos of a gunfight. And I have always liked that. And this game is no different. The problem is that it's pre-World War I. So, there's 6 consumer semiotic weapons on the planet at this time. They all have in-game things for them, but for the most part, you only need to care about the Mauser C96. That's the gun that looks like Han Solo's blaster, for those of you that are not gun people. There is the Browning Auto 5. That is just a semi-automatic shotgun. So for people that don't know guns, it's simply a shotgun that doesn't go chick. It just does that part automatically. Okay? And then there's other guns like lever action rifles, block loading rifles, a whole bunch of revolvers. Well, one revolver. Anyways. And that's cool and that's fine. And I was excited for that. The problem is they make it so you reload all these guns really fast. And the thing about pre-World War I games, the thing you could do is you could make gunfights deadly. You can make this a problem. You only have 6 shots, but the thing is a bullet puts somebody down. That's an opportunity. Especially in, I think, the mob genre. If we think about, Martin Scorsese films, especially, I'm going to use, The Irishman as an example here. There's a whole bit in that movie where he talks about he's a hitman for the mob, and he has 2 guns. One is a, low-caliber revolver, because that's for taking out your target's bodyguard. You want to put, 2 into him somewhere in the guts, because you don't want to kill him, but you just want to take him out of the fight. And then you have a higher caliber revolver for killing your mark, right? They could have done stuff like that in the game where we could do exactly that. You have a low caliber revolver and a high caliber revolver. And in this mission, you have to kill a guy, but you don't have to kill anybody else. And you could even base achievements on that and do other things, because that is honestly the way violence works. Nobody wants to kill anybody, that's how that is. Nobody wants to. So you could bake that into the game and make reloading a very heavy penalty. So the idea that you'd save your high caliber bullets for the guy you need to kill for the mission, and your low caliber bullets because enemies give up once they've been shot once or twice, because I'm gonna be honest, if I, God forbid, ever get shot, I'm done. You can have it. I'm good. I'm out. See you later. Bye-bye. I have to go to the hospital. And that is that. And that's actually a thing in a lot of Westerns, too. People get shot, and then they're done. Weird aside for a second. I watched the movie Atomic Blonde. This is not one of our 3 topics. But that movie has functionally 3 fight scenes in it. 2 are ridiculous, over the top. 1 person fighting 12 people. Nonsense. But the middle one in the movie is a staircase fight scene where the first part of it is Charlize Theron's character is fighting 2 people, and they get stabbed and shot and a whole bunch of violent stuff, but they don't die immediately. And that was another way to take this game of people are weird. Sometimes, they get stabbed or shot and they die. And then sometimes they don't. And that's just the nature of life. But the point is you just hit the reload button in Mafia, the old country, and your guns are reloaded and you just keep shooting. That's, you wipe the blood off your face to heal. It's, actually, no, you have bandages, but you have enough of them to where it's never a problem. Anyways, so the gunplay is not as charming as it is in the other 3 games, and they don't use any of the lesser pre-World War I technology to build tension. If getting shot by you, the character, twice was a pretty bad deal, this would have been more intense. And before you're you could turn up the difficulty, I played it on the hardest difficulty. That's, because I had played the other 3 games, I was I know how to play this game, I'm just going to do it. So, yeah, it wasn't hard. The hardest thing is in the gunfights, the game designers discovered one neat trick to make you have to reload your game. So, ostensibly in Mafia the Old Country, the shooting gunfights are just Gears of War, Uncharted style cover shooting. You get behind cover, you shoot some people. You get behind cover, you shoot some people. That's it. It's less fun. It would be way more fun if it was more like Stranglehold, probably, or True Crime Streets of LA, or something like that, where there was a little bit of like brawling better mixed into it, but the brawling sucks in Mafia the Old Country. Like, let's get that out of the way right now. So what the game designers do is like, oh, I know how to kill a player in a cover shooter. I know how to do this. What we'll do is simply, in the middle of a firefight, have a really tough guy that doesn't die after you shoot him 9 times charge you. And he has a shotgun. And we'll do that. And so, like, the last third of the game, every firefight has, like, 2 of those guys in it. And so you're just like, I gotta watch out for him. Gotta watch out for him. Where's he coming from? You know, and once you realize that trick, like, it's just uninspired. It just is truly uninspired. Because Uncharted did the exact same thing 12 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever that was, you know. Oh my gosh, Uncharted came out in 2007, 2008? Oh no. Oh no, Wild. Anyways, we'll move on to my third thing that I don't like about this game. The story. Okay, the story is classic. Pauper falls in love with a princess. The princess is the Mafia Don's daughter. You are the pauper. And it's good enough. It's fine. No, it's not. It's boring. It's uninspired and it's stupid. And it's a little insipid at that. They could have made it better by making it gay. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, they're like, your character has a best bud who in the prologue that you could, you know, if you wanted to read as they're kind of into each other. They're not. They're friends, and that's fine. But if you made the main character gay, and then that was always like the relationship that couldn't have happened, when you get into the main game, there's another friend who takes over that role, and that could have been the relationship that could have happened. And there you get your forbidden love story, but it's not this dumb, like, peasant trying to marry the princess nonsense that we've all heard a million times, and it would, you know, honestly make the secrecy seem more something. I don't know. The whole back third of the game is all like, oh no, how do we get away from my father before he discovers our hidden love? And you know how you do that? It's 1904 Sicily. You just simply leave. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. They make this like whole like, oh, just a little bit longer and we can get out. Like, no, it's not hard. Obviously that doesn't happen because the game has to end in tragedy somehow. Spoiler, but I warned you up ahead. It's stupid. It's predictable and it's dumb and it wastes your time. And Isabella, the love interest, only has one like personality, and it's, I don't like my father, but I love you. Yeah, they should have made the main character gay. And then she could have been his beard or something. Like, I don't know. There's a better story in there if everybody's gay. It's true about a lot of things, but this is the real case where it's like, this one would have been better. This one just like straight up would have been better. My biases aside, this would have been a better story if that is what was going on. I kid you not. So those are your 3 strikes, Mafia the Old Country. Let's see how you score. Probably not good. Oh, it's a 4 out of 10. Don't try next time. Seriously, I think I'm burnt out on Mafia. Like, I'm upset. I'm upset. Pre-World War I Italy, old funky cars, double-barrel shotguns. You had everything. You had my love. You had it. You threw it away. On to the next topic. I went to the Maryhill Museum of Art last weekend. For everybody, the Maryhill Museum of Art is a art museum in southern Washington State along the Columbia Gorge. If you use this picture from their website, it looks like it's from a big-ass hole, which is hilarious because that is kind of what it is, but it's not. It's actually a gorge that the river runs through. It's interesting. It's like, old-timey billionaires, not our new modern fascist billionaires, but old fascist billionaires. Because, the old billionaires, I guess, invented fascism. I will say all of this predates fascism. Billionaires aren't great. They're a policy failure. That's the big thing. Billionaires are a policy failure. But this billionaire, who, obviously this is like 1908 money, so maybe not literally a billionaire, but by now would be. He was the original car guy in a very real way. He was so into cars that before the first cars arrived in Washington State, he was building test roadways to prove that they were the way of the future. The mansion that he built that later became a museum was so car-centric that it has 2 giant ramps that go up to the first floor. There's some roundabouts and then doors that you could drive your car through the houses because he wanted his friends to be able to bring their cars there. This is what I want to see from America's upper class these days. I get it, they're all shooting each other to space with their rockets, but come on. Tesla, why isn't there a mansion that you can just drive a Tesla through? Instead, you have these shitty ass tunnels in Las Vegas. Come on. So yeah, real billionaire stuff going on, but in a way I can kind of respect, Anyways, long story short, he was friends with Queens and Augustin Rodin. So this museum has literal original Rodins in it, and a bunch of paintings and a bunch of furniture from the Queen Marie of Greece's collection. It is bonkers. And what's even more bonkers is it is in the middle of absolute nowhere. I cannot stress how in the middle of nowhere this is. It's a fun museum. It's 2 hours, but the 3 hours you have to take to drive there from anywhere, that's not true. It's a lot closer from Portland. I don't live in Portland because that's in Oregon, and I don't live in Oregon. Well, that's not why I don't live there. Well, wait. I don't live there because I don't live there, okay? Jeez, get off my back, everybody. Anyways, it was an interesting museum. Really cool painting exhibit right now, and I don't know, if you're in Portland and can I guess spare a 90-minute drive, go to the Maryhill Museum of Art. It's great. They have a big sculpture park out front. They have 3 floors of museum in the mansion, and there's a cafe that's it's okay. It's okay. Anyways, that's what's been up with me, WildWeiler. I hope you like this weekly wrap. It is completely off the cuff. I probably said the word about a million billion times, but that's okay, because you gotta make art, which this is, definitely. Yeah, you gotta make art. That's just what you gotta do. And I will see you all next time. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Oh, shoot, wait, I forgot. I'm gonna do, some friends got me into Peak. Here's a clip.
Friendship. Yeah.
Oh. And next week we're gonna do a stream. I'm gonna do a stream. It's gonna be fun. You should all be there. It'll be on Saturday. It does not have a time yet because a lot of people that are gonna be in the stream work seasonal jobs. So they're busy, but it's gonna be a stream. You're gonna love it. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.